here, and we'll start in another minute.
Okay. Is Maureen working today?
She isn't. She's a Friday, Saturday girl now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They have a packed social schedule. They're always doing something. All right. It's 5:01. Let's go.
Hey.
Welcome to 5:01. I'm Paula Dooley from Stephen Ross Wine Cellars. But for this show, really, it's the Slow Coast Wine Collective that I do this show for. And for those of you who haven't been on, it's a weekly Zoom with wine people, wine places, wine personalities of the Slow Coast region. And today is my buddy, Vicki Carroll, who wears many and has worn many hats in the wine world. And today is here for really for the Monday Club Conservancy. And I was interested in talking to Vicki because Vicki always is a good fundraiser and always does a great job supporting the wineries who support, the fundraising that you do. So welcome, Vicki.
Thank you. It's really great to be here and
Yes.
to talk about the wine industry and philanthropy. Oh, hello, Stephen.
So Vicki, before we get started, what's in your wine glass today?
Oh, well, it's pink. Oh, you might not be able to see it.
Kind of fade it. Hold it still and see if it'll pick it up.
Yeah, see if it'll come in. It's a rosé from Piedra Creek. The variety is Lagrein. So a fun variety for a rosé, something I think you don't get that often, but it's right here in the Edna Valley, right?
I love that wine, and they just won like double gold best of show of, I don't know what the competition was with that wine, just in the last week.
Oh, really? Wow, good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Well, I'm still at work and I have my trusty mug, but I have a Santa Lucia Highlands Pinot Noir in there that we produce.
Nice job. I do have a Stephen Ross Alvarinho on my desk too, just in case I run out.
That's the wine of the week this week.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, Vicki and I, we've crossed a lot of paths on different events and things in the wine industry. And today's call, I really wanted to talk about this symbiotic relationship between charitable organizations and wineries. And so why don't you tell us like what's happening at the Monday Club now, and then I'll pipe in about how much I love it and how it supports us.
Okay, well, I'll give some background on our building, which you can see behind me. Our building was built and completed in 1934, and the architect was Julia Morgan. Our organization has been in existence in San Luis Obispo since 1925. Just about a year ago, we completed some historic restoration and some barrier removal, new landscaping, all new HVAC, took the building back to its original color, removed some things that weren't original, like porticos on the outside, and just really revived the building. It looks absolutely beautiful. And so we have been in the process of fundraising for the past couple, well, probably 3 years, and we continue to be in the process of fundraising. And during this time, when we aren't allowed to gather, our building is also not rented for events. So we came up with an idea of something that we could do that's safe and contact-free, and we are having a drive-by picnic. And it's happening on August 15th, and we're selling 100 picnics, and it's in celebration of the centennial of the women's vote, the 19th Amendment. And we have one picnic out of 100 left. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, so we also have very couple of things happening. We have a raffle on our website if people are interested in. It's for a very nice picnic basket that Central Coast Wines has given us. And then we also have, if you don't have your picnic, this is very fun. It's a posh picnic. You can go in on our Facebook page and bid on this picnic. It's for 8 people on Saturday after our drive-through picnic is from 11 to 1. And so at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4, we're hosting this posh picnic for the highest bidder. And it'll be for 8, and it'll be really nice. There's more information about it on our website
And you
and
have
our Facebook page.
lots of room outside in the back, right? People
Yes,
to spread
there's
out.
plenty of room, so we felt that was a good number, nice and safe.
Yeah, so it didn't
Me.
even have to be 8 people in the same household. I call it the germ pool. It could be 4 couples because they would be able to stay away from each other, right? Social distance.
Well, what our hope is, yes, that's true. We could do that. We could do that easily. But yeah, we'll see what
Awesome.
happens.
Yeah. And then I was swooping through your super hip website for an organization that's been in existence since 1925. You have like the world's best website.
Thanks,
And
Angelia.
that is fantastic, Angelia. And you're doing some Zoom yoga classes from there.
We are. That's every Monday, and it's at 4, and it's fantastic. During the time when we can gather, we have it at the Monday Club, which is and it's the public is also welcome, and it's a gorgeous place to have a yoga class. But right now we're happy with Zoom, so join us.
Yes.
It's also a bit of a fundraiser for us.
And the picnics that you've sold 99 of include wine, right?
They include wine, some great wines, and that's an add-on that people can purchase when they order their picnic online. And Bailiana and Tangent and Stephen Ross have donated wines for the event, which is very, very nice.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure that will all get gobbled up.
No doubt.
And from a winery's perspective, going back to the point that I was making, I appreciate that the wine is not an afterthought in the events that you have there. And I can't even remember the month that we did the bigger event with the food and wine where we were inside. But from a winery's perspective, it's not just about giving wine away. It's about promoting ourselves via wine instead of via dollars that we have. And I feel like this event does that with the wines that you are letting people choose. So you're not just giving everybody wine. They might like it or they might not. They get to add on if what they like.
Yes. And, Paula, to us, it's important, and certainly to me, it's important that the wineries are well represented and that your product is respected and presented in the best manner that it can be. And so I'm very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Having been, in the wine industry for a very long time and doing events for a very long time, is so important. And I think that some nonprofits lose sight of that. So it's a very important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, so, sometimes we get hit up for a donation and people say, yeah, we're going to bag up all the bottles, and people just grab the bottle, it's just, they just grab a bottle and whatever's in the bag they get. And I think that doesn't really do anything for me. I want someone saying, this is a delicious bottle of wine. You should want this one. You should want Stephen Ross,
Yes.
So it's important how the wine is presented.
It is important. And we hope that someday soon we'll be able to have that event again.
Yes,
We have great, the wineries from the Slow Coast Wines support that event incredibly. Last year there were 10 wineries that supported it, so it was great.
I know I stood next to Nancy from Sausalito Canyon, and we talked about how great the event was and how we're happy to support it. And in a year we give away a lot of wine to charitable events, but those are the best ones where you've got, people who are paying attention to the wine.
Yes.
I
And,
said,
go ahead.
well, when we were talking about this call, I said I would look back and it would probably depress me to find out how much wine that we give away
Mm-hmm.
in a year. And in 2019, it was 60 cases of wine that we gave
Wow.
away, 15 complete walk away where they come and get it, and the rest poured at events, which are all charitable events. And so that doesn't include what we send out to wine riders and stuff, but that's a big 5-digit number for dollars that we give away.
Yeah, I was going to
And
ask you what the,
yeah, I mean, I can't figured out it was about $30,000 in wine. That's a lot of money, but it's good for us. We get something in return. I try to make sure that we get something in return, but it's a big number. And one of the other hats that you wear, Host Own, you guys support. I mean, that's hundreds of wineries, isn't it?
it is close to 200 wineries at that event, and from around the world. But I was also looking at the donations that Hospice Giron has made in the community, and it's a very long list of nonprofit organizations and that we're happy to support, either with tickets to our Paso Robles event or with wine that we have from various wine writer tastings that we put on for people like Jeb Dunnick, and he leaves the unopened bottles with us, and we use those for our event or for donations, and we're happy to do it. But the list is long, as yours is. So
Sure, yeah.
That's great. And I think that how many wineries do we have in our county? If we all added up the wine that we donate to events, to enhance events, and to support nonprofits, it would be a very interesting number and incredible, right?
It would be huge because we're just a small little winery, and that's the number that we have. Think of a winery that makes easily 10 times more wine than we do. That's got a big number.
And I was talking to some of my people that work with me today about this, and saying, what would an event be like in San Luis Obispo County if it wasn't wine country? Very different.
Yes.
Very different. We're very fortunate to have that. But that other thing too, Paula, and I know that you experience this as well, is that also with wine comes food. And I think that we have very generous artisan purveyors and restaurants in our community as well. We're like-minded because we're in the hospitality business. And for our picnic on the 15th, we have a lot of local food producers as well, like Alapia Cured Meats is donating. We have a California Bee Company, the Del Monte Cafe, Farb's Bakery. Even the grocery outlet has stepped up, which is fabulous.
They're wine people.
Yeah,
the managers and his wife. Yeah,
yeah, and Liquid Gravity Brewing, the Madonna Inn. I'm sure they're asked a lot, but they stepped up. And Mama's Preserves, Stepladder Creamery, and of course Tally's. Fresh harvest, and Trader Joe's also. So I think that we're so fortunate in our community to have the great support from our local businesses. And right now is not an easy time to ask people for donations, and they have still been generous or given a very sizable discount.
Oh, that's nice. The Tally, shout out to Tally Farms, because when at the other event that we did, I bought a raffle ticket and won the Tally box, which, they're always so generous in putting those boxes out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so I know that wine events are part of it, but I'm guessing that the Monday Club Conservancy is really big dollars. And so how else do you, other than the events that you do, you have a donate button on your website, but I'm guessing grants or the inheritance, and how else does that
Inheritance would
money
be
come along?
nice. We are in the middle of a capital campaign, and raised, we're looking to raise just over $1 million, and we raised about 700,000. So that has come from grants and member donations, a lot of member donations, and community support. And 98% of the money that we have collected has come from San Luis Obispo County. So it's great to have that community support, but we are still, actively looking for grants and also donations from our community or beyond.
I'm thinking about those commercials you hear on NPR about build us into your estate plan. Like that's the kind of big money that you need.
It
I
is.
would think. Yeah.
And, maybe our ship will come in
Yeah.
someday. But in the meantime, we're working hard at it.
When it's not COVID-19, can people come look at the inside of the Monday Club at any times? Because for anybody who's an architecture buff or a California history buff, the whole Julia Morgan connection is big.
Yes, every Monday from 2 to 5, we have the building open for free tours. And Monday Club members are docents. So that will happen again, and we hope soon, because if we can take by appointment smaller groups when we're allowed to, instead of just being open in general. We also by appointment have taken in school groups and different clubs, and certainly Cal Poly architectural students are always anxious to come and visit, and also have done projects around the Monday Club, design projects, which is really fun for them because it's actually a real building designed by Julia Morgan, and they can come and see their ideas at the building. It's been pretty fun. We also rent our building for events, and that's part of a huge part of our operating income. And so, of course, since April, we have not had an income from the rentals. However, if there are smaller things that we've been allowed to do from time to time, and our property manager can show our building if people want to rent it. There are certain guidelines that she has to follow that involve a lot of sterilization, but she can take people in for that.
Well, Steve is on the show, I know, but I was telling my son that we were going to do this show today. I said, if I ever get married again, I'm doing it at the Monday Club because it's so charming. I don't plan to ever get married again, Steve, because you're the one. But we could redo it or something, and it is just
redo it. Yeah, you can.
We could redo it. Yeah.
Yeah, do your vows, and but it's a great place for a party. And
it is.
The grounds are beautiful. We have a full commercial kitchen. It's fabulous. The interior, of course, is incredible. If you haven't seen it, everyone listening, stay tuned. Look at our website.
I bet somebody could ask for wine consulting too, and have you send them some places to get wine for events. Yeah, that's fantastic. Is it appropriate to jump to Hospice-Sterone, and what is happening there with regard to crowd?
We have an event in Paso Robles every other year, so that was to be April of this year, and of course it's postponed. And we're trying to stay relevant just like everybody else and stay out in front. And we've held a couple of Zoom webinars. We're doing promotional social media events with producers. We just finished a rosé promotion, so we do a lot of social media. Producers sign up to participate, and then they give us 10% of their sales over a certain period of time. The next thing we have coming up is International Grenache Day celebration on September 18th.
Oh.
So that will be fun, and we're working with the International Grenache Association in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, and we'll be coordinating our activities. So always fun. Always
Wrote
nice.
that date down because we make our Grenache.
Yes. So what we're working to have a local, maybe somebody like Ash or somebody put together a Grenache pack or a flight suggestion. And maybe if we're allowed to have a small group gather to also have that live. So stay tuned. We just had our meeting this morning, so we're
All
working on
right.
it.
Let me
Yeah.
know if I can help in any way.
Oh, I certainly will. Thank
we
you.
have we have several single variety Grenaches now in the Edna Valley.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions or comments that they want to ask of Vicki? Or really it's Vicki, not me, but anybody want to pitch in a question? Nope. For those of you out of the area, I do really encourage you to come see the Monday Club because it's not like you're going to the, go Steve.
Oh, I was just wondering, Vicki, if you could comment on like what was going on in the 70s and 80s around here. I mean, you've been here for quite a while and you probably saw the very early start of the wine industry in the Edna Valley. And I mean, what was it like? Can you tell us about stuff like that?
I could tell you about that.
Well, I mean,
Gosh.
besides the fact that you and I worked together, in the 80s, 70s?
Yeah, 90.
90s.
Steve, here's a side note. Steve was my first boss in the wine industry. I worked at the tasting bar at Edna Valley Vineyard, which the tasting bar at that time was 2 barrels and a couple boards. And he was a winemaker and general manager, and I worked every Friday. And I was hired by what used to be the Edna Valley Arroyo Grande Vineyards Association in '90 to put on the first harvest celebration, which we did at Edna Valley Vineyard. So, we had 6 members. And how many members do you have now? So it's Slow Coast Wines. How many members?
Yeah, 29.
Yeah. So we've grown a lot for a small area, that's for sure. And I feel fortunate to have been in on that ground floor where we got to watch things grow. We got to see attention drawn. We were promoting our region as a destination. We were working hand in hand with Paso Robles, and it's pretty rewarding to see what has happened today.
And when did you come to the Edna Valley? Because you grew up in Mariposa, yes?
I grew up in Mariposa. I moved to San Luis Obispo in 1972 to go to college. And in '82, I married this guy named Howard Carroll, who's looking at something. And we live in the Edna Valley on a ranch that was his grandfather's from the 1800s. And we have a Chardonnay vineyard. So drink Edna Valley Chardonnay.
And maybe Chardonnay grapes for sale for anybody. Call Howard up.
And so when you moved here, like even Edna Valley Vineyard wasn't around quite yet. I mean, and was it mainly cattle grazing in the Edna Valley, or what was happening out there?
The Edna Valley was dry farmed, so wheat, grain crops, probably sugar beets, garbanzo beans. Am I leaving anything out, Howard? You're muted.
Snow peas were very popular. Garbanzo beans, it was the garbanzo bean capital of California for many years until the started getting viruses in the soil, and they were not profitable to grow them any longer. But lots of snow peas.
And are there any sugar beets growing in this area? I've never heard that before. No, Salinas.
There used to be trainloads of sugar beets coming from up by Salinas, and they would go down to Santa Maria to Bed Arabia, where they would make them into sugar, and then they had a small feedlot next to to the Betteravia farms, where they sold all of the tops and what was left of the sugar beet after they crushed it for cattle food. And then my family grew sugar beets during the Second World War as a sugar substitute for the military.
In this area.
In the valley, right outside our door.
Wow. I'm going to venture off topic, which is one of the beauties of Zoom, but Steve and I were just in the Eastern Sierra, and we went to Manzanar, which was the Japanese internment camp.
Yeah.
And we figured that there were probably, the Oceano Guadalupe farmers, families in there.
Yes. I'm sure.
Yeah. So, little piece of history of the Edna Valley and coastal area. I do find history interesting, but I also think of like Vicki. So with our handful of little members when you started, and then you totally have your world wine chops with Host Bistron. Like you are connected with with producers all over the world and some of the top producers of the world and lots of producers around the world. And that is really to be commended. And even though we make local wines, we appreciate that having you in this area to keep us worldly in our wines.
Well, thanks, Paula. I can tell you that when I left the Vintners Association, I certainly had an Edna and a Royal Grande Valley palate. And it was interesting to learn more. That's what the wine industry is about, learning. We learn every day. We educate ourselves by tasting and reading and traveling and talking to other people. And it's a very rewarding career, I have to say that.
It's more, and actually, since Howard's on this call, the name of this call is 501 Wednesday, and the 501 part came from a tasting group when I didn't know anything, but I met Steve and he invited me to this tasting group that was a 501 group, and I'm sure that's where I met Howard back in the late 80s, early 90. The name worked then, so why not use it now?
I have another question for Vicki. So in your efforts with Hospice du Rhône, you have done some outreach in the terms of, I guess I'd call them field trips. When you had a couple of times when you've gone to the Rhone Valley to connect with them and invite them to your event. I mean, what are those field trips like?
That's been every other year since 2003. The Rhone Valley Wines holds an event called Découvert Rhone Valley, so the discovery of the Rhone Valley. And when we first started going, they wondered why we were there. There's a little bit of suspicion, but we've been collaborating for so long. It's a rewarding relationship, and in the Rhone Valley there are multiple AOCs, just like we have AVAs, and each one has their own organization, which is government sponsored. And what we have found through the years is that they're all wanting to come to Paso Robles to the event, because there are a lot of people that appreciate Rhone, obviously, and the international component, and it really helps them to market their brand as well. So those trips to France are exhausting, because I'm sure you've experienced that, they don't go to bed at the same time we do, and or eat dinner or any of those things. But it's all about, we all like the same thing, and no matter where in the world you are, everybody's the same. We all want to be respected, liked, and have a good time together. So there's been a huge partnership developed over the years from taking those trips to the Rhone Valley. Been professionally and personally rewarding, to say the least.
When you need someone to...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, in other countries as well that we have traveled to that are Rhone producers, it's great no matter where you go in the wine industry. Do you have
Well,
friends?
when you need someone to carry your bags, I'll come.
You're on, Paula.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to tie it back to the Edna Valley Rhone varieties. We think of Paso Robles, but in the coastal region, we have lots of Syrah, John Alban, and Spanish Springs Vineyard, Jesperson Ranch. I think Tulsa has a little bit. Grenache, probably about it.
Blanc.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Grenache Blanc is wonderful. We made it once, and people love that wine. Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah, I know, we should. People say, what is Grenache Blanc? So we spend a lot of time talking about it, but as soon as they taste it, they love it. All right. Well, I thank you for everybody's time. I try to keep the show to 30 minutes, and we're just about there. So thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I don't have a guest lined up yet, but I'm sure it will be somebody interesting. And after that, we may go to less than weekly because the winemakers start to get otherwise engaged with harvest, which we're looking forward to around here. Although with this cool weather, it's not imminent, but we are preparing for harvest in the COVID-19 world. And we will bring you something interesting in a week, and we'll talk about after that.
Great. Paula, thank you for featuring the Monday Club, and I encourage people to look at our website, and when you can, if you have not been to our beautiful building, we would love to give you a tour. So thank you for that.
Yeah. In fact, the website is, actually, we've got a chat here from Nathan Carlson. What are the social media tags and follows for the Monday Club?
Angelia, where is she? It's Monday Club Slow.
The Monday Club Slow is .org is the website. Right.
And then how about, you know what it is for Instagram or for Facebook?
For Facebook is Facebook at the Monday Club Slow. And then Instagram is just Monday Club Slow.
Nice.
Yeah.
They
all link off of our website though.
We'll follow it so we can get in on those picnics before they sell out next time.
Oh, Paula, one more thing. We have a picnic for you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes, as a way of thanking you and Steve for having us on the show.
Oh,
we have a picnic for you. So I'll email you about the details.
Okay, thank you. We happen to be free that day.
Awesome.
And every other day, basically. But
all right, well, we'll make arrangements.
Yes, all right. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Happy Wednesday night. Go eat something delicious and drink something wonderful.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.